One of the ways people use Photoshop the most is to remove elements in the image. Now, this cell phone tower is obviously very intrusive into what is otherwise a very nice sunset image. So let's go ahead and look at the different ways we can bring to bear to get rid of it. And let's start with the simplest one first, because sometimes we just try and experiment, we see if it'll work, and sometimes you get lucky. Other times you have to go back and start again. So I'm going to go ahead and increase the size of the brush here a little bit, just like that, by hitting the right bracket key. And let me do it even larger. Let's go right here so we can cover these larger areas on the tower. And let's look at the first and easiest way that I would approach this. So we'll hit this, come down, and I don't think this is going to work the way I'm wanting it to, but this is the easiest way to do it. And if it works, then it's going to be great. Now, obviously, you can see that's not the result we want because we have a clear distortion all the way where that tower used to be. So we'll hit Command-Z to go back to the beginning. This time I'm going to reduce the size of the brush and take it down to about right there. And now I'm just going to paint over those larger areas, come straight down on the tower, paint on a larger area, just like this. Come straight down, let go, and let's see what that result gives us. Much, much better. In fact, I would say that's probably going to be one we would live with. However, let me point out that we still have the distortion going up through this area, but it's nowhere near as bad as it used to be. And right here is where it's really the worst. I'm going to go ahead and hit Command-1 to go to 100% magnification on this area right here, and we definitely don't want it. Now, rather than agonize over it and try to use the clone stamp tool and work on it and work on it and work on it, let me show you a cheater way to just fix this whole problem. Come up and get the lasso tool, and we'll come up right here, just like that, and we have a selection. Now that we've got that selection, we come up to Filter, Gaussian Blur, and we just apply a blur to it. Hit OK, Command-D to get rid of the marching ants, and look at that. I mean, we can live with that all day long, and how easy that was to do. Now, that blur process only works when you've got a very solid color background and everything is very, very contiguous and uniform. It won't work when you're like using a face or something that has a lot of detail in it. So these processes aren't one size fits all, but sometimes they do work, and where they do work, it will really simplify your post-processing. Now we're going to get rid of the guy wires, and this is going to be a painstaking process. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward on the video so that you don't have to sit through this agonizing process. But I am going to go ahead and get rid of these and come down just like this. And you'll forgive me if I zig and zag on this a little bit because my hand does shake sometimes when I'm trying to do this kind of work. Come down and let go. And we can live with that. So let's go ahead and finish getting rid of these guy wires. And we'll fast forward on the video so that we don't put you to sleep. Okay, now we got rid of the guy wires, but again, we have this modeling here on this area that really doesn't look natural, and we definitely want to get rid of it. We've also got a few guy wires, ghost images on here. Here's another little stretch that I didn't get before. So let's go ahead and handle those. Now I'm going to cheat again. I'm going to come in here just like this. Come around, come up, come around, come get the blur. Gaussian blur, that's filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Hit OK, and we get rid of those modeling areas just like that, and it's all fixed. Now we still have this little area down here, and that's going to be easy to get rid of using the clone stamp tool. So we come up here, the clone stamp tool is right here. We will sample Where do we want to sample from? Let's go ahead and sample from right here. And we'll just come in. Or we can just come above, which I think might work better, and just sweep across. And again, that's good enough for government work. So we've solved that problem. Now let's go ahead and get really nitpicky and get rid of these little towers, these power line towers. And I think I'd rather do that with the spot healing brush. And we come down like this and get rid of that one. We can get rid of this one. And these high power transmission towers are all over rural Texas because of the windmills that are prevalent. So again, let's come up to the lasso tool and we get rid of this plume of smoke. And I have no idea where this plume of smoke came from. And we'll have a selection. We'll come up to Edit, Fill, Content Aware. We'll hit OK, and that got rid of it. Get rid of the marching ants. And boom, we're off and running. There's a little bit of color distortion right here, but it's in a tiny little area. And I guess if we were being really, really anal, we could come in like this and use the cheaters solution. Get the blur, Gaussian blur, and boom, we've fixed it. Command D to get rid of the marching ants, and we still have this little area here. So we'll come in with the clone stamp tool. We'll sample from above because it worked last time. Come down, sweep across, and that's enough for government work. And boom, there we have it, a cleaned up image. Let's look at the before and after, and we've got before, and that's after, and we've used a combination of the spot healing brush, the clone stamp tool, the lasso tool, and up here under filter, we've used Gaussian blur, all brought to bear to clean up this image in Photoshop.